Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Drew, Chair of the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, bringing our council meeting for today to order. Ms. Owens, will you call the roll?
Department of Commerce.
Kate Kelly, present.
Department of Ecology.
Eli Levitt, present.
Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Mike Livingston, present.
Department of Natural Resources.
Lenny Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission.
Stacy Brewster, present.
Local Government and Optional State Agencies for the Goose Prairie Project, Department of Transportation.
Bill Soriel, present.
For the Horse Heaven Project, Department of Agriculture.
Derek Sanderson, present.
Benton County. The Assistant Attorney General.
This is John Thompson, present.
Administrative Law Judge Johnette Sullivan. Adam Torum.
This is Judge Torum. I'm on.
Laura Bradley.
This is Judge Bradley. I'm present.
Ms. Owens, can you pause for a minute, please?
Yes.
It seems that our court reporter is not getting the audio.
Okay, just one moment. Yes, I can hear you. Is that Carissa?
We will pause for a moment so that we can see if we can make sure our court reporter is able to hear the meeting.
Carissa, can you hear me now? And I do have a recording that I can share with her after the meeting. Okay, looks like she's logged off and we'll come back. Carissa, can you hear us now? Carissa, are you there? I saw your video for a moment.
Well, let us continue and we'll get the audio to her. Hopefully she can figure out her technical issues. I just see, and also it may help, Carissa, if you call in over the phone line.
Oh, she says she can hear now.
Okay, resuming, and I did hear you call Mr. Brost, and I see he had joined in the chat, so I believe he's here.
Yes, Benton County, Ed Brost, are you here? Okay. Shall I continue with?
Can you hear me? I am here.
Oh, there we
Okay,
are.
yes.
This is Ed Brost. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, continuing with council staff, Sonia Bumpus.
Sonia Bumpus is here.
Amy Hofkemeyer.
Present.
Amy Moon.
Amy Moon, present.
Kyle Overton. Joe Wood.
Joe Wood, present.
Sean Chisholm.
Sean Chisholm, present.
Patty Betts.
Patty Betts, present.
Lindsay Remfrey,
Lindsay Remfrey, present.
Stu Henderson,
Stuart Henderson, present.
Andrea Grantham,
Andrea Grantham, present.
and our court reporter,
Carissa Kitzelman, present.
thank you. For operational updates, Kittitas Valley Wind,
Eric Albartis, present.
Wild Horse Wind Power Project,
Jennifer Galbraith, present.
Grace Harbor Energy Center,
Chris Sharon, present.
Chehalis Generation Facility,
Stefano Schnecker, present.
Columbia Generating Station,
Brad Barfus, present.
Columbia Solar,
Owen Hurd, present.
for Council for the Environment, Bill Sherman,
Bill Sherman, Council for the Environment on Horse Heaven and Goose Prairie, present.
thank you. And is Megan Salome with you?
Yes, I'm also present. This is Megan Salome for the Badger Mountain project.
Great, thank you. Chair, there is a quorum for the regular council, the Goose Prairie and Horse Heaven Council. You are on mute.
Thank you. A couple of the notes for the council and members of public as we begin today. First of all, I wanted to welcome Eli Levitt from the Department of Ecology, who is replacing Rob Dangle. Eli is Ecology's Information Management and Communications Section Manager for Hazardous Waste and Toxics Reduction Program, and has also worked in water quality and climate policy with the Department of Ecology. And we welcome you as one of our members here today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chair Drew.
You're welcome to say anything else by introduction if you wish, but.
I guess I'll just briefly say I've been at the Department of Ecology for about 13 and a half years. As the chair mentioned, I worked for the Climate Policy Group for 3 years, and then water quality for about 6 or 7, and now hazardous waste and toxics reduction for about 3 years. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and Rob Dangle could not make it today. He sends his regrets, so thank you.
Thank you and welcome. I would also like to say that we are working with the Douglas County Commissioners for a member of the council, and as I understand, they were looking at changing their initial appointee, and Ms. Julio, who is the, oh here, let me make sure I get her name. Jordan Julio, the county's risk manager, will be participating, but we haven't yet received an appointment letter. What I would say, Ms. Julio, is if as we go towards the Badger Mountain report, and if you would like to participate during the discussion, but not vote, I would appreciate that. And then once we get your appointment letter from the county, we will have you as an official member. Are you on the line?
I am present, yes.
Okay, so feel free to participate at the council member discussion during the Badger Mountain discussion if you would like.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, now moving on to the agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve the, adopt the proposed agenda?
This is Mike Livingston. I'll make a movement to adopt the agenda as proposed.
Thank you. Second?
Lenny Young, second.
Questions, discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. We have 3 sets of minutes before us today. For approval. First, we have the November 16th, 2021 monthly minute meetings. Is there a motion to approve the November 16th monthly council meeting minutes?
Kate Kelly, motion to approve minutes from November 16th, 2021.
Thank you.
Stacy Brewster, second.
Thank you. Are there any comments or corrections on the monthly meeting minutes from November 16th? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The meeting minutes are approved. Moving on to the November 17th Badger Mountain informational meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
This is Stacy Brewster. I'll move that we approve the minutes from the November 17th Badger Mountain informational meeting, as well as the land use hearing minutes.
Thank you. Second?
Kate Kelly, second.
Thank you. I do have a couple of quick corrections in the informational meeting minutes. First of all, on page 2, actually, we have the administrative law judge named as Adam Torum, which is incorrect. It should be Laura Bradley. And on page 45, line 16, get this little. We have the name Galbraith, and it should be Grantham. So with those 2 corrections, are there any other corrections for either the public meeting or the land use consistency hearing?
This is Stacy Brewster. I did notice one on page 13 of lines 13 and 14 refer to solar PD. I believe that should be PV, photovoltaic.
Okay, thank you. With those changes, all those in favor of the minutes as amended, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, the minutes are approved. Thank you all. We'll now move to the agenda of the facility updates, starting with Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project. Mr. Milbardis.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC staff, council members. For the record, this is Eric Milbardis with EDP Renewables for the Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project. There was nothing non-routine to report for either period.
Thank you. Wild Horse Wind Facility, Ms. Galbraith.
Yes, thank you, Chair Drew, council members and staff. This is Jennifer Galbraith with Puget Sound Energy for the Wild Horse Wind Facility. And I also have nothing non-routine to report for the month of November and December. Wait a minute. There we go. There's December.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
For Chehalis Generating Facility, we have Mr. Schnitger. Before we call on you, is Mr. Miller actually attending this meeting?
No, Mr. Miller will not be attending the meeting today.
Well, we would like you to share with him, and we'll put into the minutes, how much we appreciate his management and his relationship to EFSEC over a number of years. And I actually don't know how many years he has been with the facility, but I know all of us here at EFSEC wish him well in his retirement, and we will miss his participation in our meetings and such a good partner as he has been, and certainly look forward to working with you in the same manner. So please go ahead with your report.
Pass that on to him. Listed here is the reporting period for November. I also sent out a report for December. And for the record, this is Stefano Schnicker with the Chehalis Generation Facility. And Chair Drew, did you want me to report on November or December?
Both would be good, thank you, since we didn't have our December meeting.
Okay. So for November, there's not a whole lot, anything unusual to report. The Washington State Fire Marshal, he did conduct his site inspection on November 4th. There were a few identified deficiencies from that inspection. And if we end up going to the December report, included in the December report, we provided the fire marshal with a resolution plan for those deficiencies, and he has accepted that plan and sent his approval to EFSEC. Continuing on here for December, 0 injuries for the reporting period. The plant is now at 2,254 days without a lost time accident. Our Title V air operating permit renewal has been completed. The new permit will expire on December 29th, 2026. Thank you to everybody who helped support that renewal effort. And as Chair Drew mentioned, Mark Miller, the plant manager, he has submitted his retirement notice, and his last day is officially this Friday, January 21st. And that's all for Chehalis.
Thank you. And again, please give him our congratulations and our appreciation for the partnership he's had with us over the years. Okay. And moving on to Grays Harbor Energy, Mr. Sharon.
Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, EFSEC staff. This is Chris Sharon, the plant manager from Grays Harbor Energy Center. So over the reporting period in November, we did submit startup and shutdown permit deviation to EFSEC. We're working to rectify that. It's essentially, to sum it up, it's a result of the AGP upgrade and the change in the controls. So we're working with the OEM to, we've identified the worst places to sit for fires combustion during our startup process, and we've identified some better options in our holds. So we're working through that, and the last couple startups have been successful, but that's a pending issue.
Thank you, and you'll
also
continue to keep us updated on that, of course.
Yes, we will.
Okay, go ahead.
We still owe you some more feedback in the future.
Okay.
Also in November, the state fire marshal's office inspection was conducted, and we in response to that, we submitted a plan to correct a few minor violations. And then the only non-routine item I have for the month of December is that, to follow up with that the Office of the State Fire Marshal's reinspection report was received, and noted that all the prior items that we were deficient on had been corrected in December. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? Thank you. Okay, Columbia Generating Station and Washington Washington Nuclear Project 1 and 4, WNP 1 and 4. I heard who is on the line to report on those facilities for us?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Drew, EFSEC Council and staff. This is Brad Barfus, I'm the Environmental and Regulatory Programs Manager for Energy Northwest. And I have an update for Columbia Generating Station. On December 6th, 2021, Columbia Generating Station disconnected from the Northwest grid for a planned maintenance outage. And workers installed balance weights on each end of a 34-foot, 133-ton low-pressure turbine that was replaced as part of Columbia's life cycle maintenance during the station's spring refueling outage. And workers successfully completed this, and in addition, maintenance tasks were also completed during the week to ensure Columbia continues to produce reliable carbon-free power for the region. And on December 13th, 2021, Columbia Generating Station reconnected to the grid.
Thank you. Are there, go ahead.
And I have no updates for Washington Nuclear Project 1 and 4.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, moving on to Columbia Solar Projects. Mr. Hurd.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Drew, council members, and EFSEC staff. This is Owen Hurd from Tuso Energy reporting on the Columbia Solar Projects. The update on construction is that for Penstemon, we achieved mechanical completion in late December, and so now we're just completing final testing before commercial operation will happen. PSE is also working on some final issues on communications with their interconnection hardware. On Camas, we're still awaiting for the final delivery of modules that have been stuck in various ports and customs office and are now being kind of reshipped. Racking is complete in terms of the installation of the installation of all the racking is complete. So we're just waiting on modules, and mechanical completion is expected probably sometime in March. Utica is also awaiting delivery of modules that have been held up by shipping delays. But we're also working on pile driving and racking installation. So I'd expect mechanical completion to trail Camas by probably another month. So put us into April. Environmental compliance inspections have been ongoing, but we had to skip last week due to weather. Safety compliance, daily safety tailgate meetings continue to happen. On the kind of other items, we closed the transaction with Greenbacker in early December. As described in our public information meeting, Tuso will remain involved in its current capacity until all 3 projects are completed, so not much will change from a day-to-day perspective. The current site restoration financial assurance will remain in place until it's replaced by Greenbacker, which should be soon. And we'll be scheduling our initial TAC meeting sometime this next month. Lastly, just on weather, we got several feet of snow in the past few weeks, which most of which is still on the ground. This will have the biggest impact on Utica, where we're still driving piles and doing on-site work. So we're currently working through the timing implications, but I'll keep you posted once we have a better idea of what this looks like.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations on the work with Greenbacker and also on the progress on the construction. Tough time of year and tough weather situation, definitely. When do you think that Penstemon will begin commercial operation?
I'd expect it to be in the next couple weeks. There were just a handful of things to kind of tie up, so we're working with PSE on kind of the sequencing of whether or not to, we got permission to operate from Puget Sound Energy, although they are still working on these final communications items. So there's been some discussion about whether we should just let them complete their work and then turn it on, or if we want to complete our kind of final testing, turn it on, and then turn it back off while they wrap up their communication stuff. So, the next few weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions from council members? Okay. Desert Claim Wind Power Project. Ms. Moon.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and members of the council. For the record, this is Amy Moon providing the Desert Claim update. EFSEC staff continue to coordinate with Desert Claim. However, currently there are no project updates.
Thank you. And while I have you here,
Yes.
report on Horse Heaven Wind Project, please.
Okay, so for the record, this is Amy Moon providing an update on the Horse Heaven Wind Project. EFSEC staff continue to work on the preparation of the draft environmental impact statement, otherwise known as a DEIS. We were working on that in both November and December, as well as today. The work has included review of our contractor Golder's work on drafting the DEIS, as well as continued coordination regarding wildlife and habitat mitigation with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Horse Heaven applicant. The discussions have included impact analysis, as well as opportunities for impact avoidance and minimization of impacts that will support the applicant in developing an updated mitigation plan. EFSEC received responses to data requests regarding habitat, noise, surface water, vegetation, and wildlife, and these data requests were to the applicant. The information received from the data requests is being used to inform the DEIS preparation, as well as the habitat and wildlife mitigation discussions. Additional noise baseline measurements near residential areas were included in a data request, and the applicant has been actively pursuing the additional measurements. Does the council have any questions?
Are there any questions from council members? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then we have also received a letter from the applicant regarding an extension of their application review period. Amy Hofkemeyer has more information on that.
Okay, Ms. Hofkemeyer.
Thank you, Ms. Moon. Good afternoon, Chair Drew and Council. For the record, this is Amy Hofkemeyer. On January 10th, 2022, EFSEC staff received a letter from Scout Clean Energy, the applicant, requesting that the review of the application for site certification, or ASC, be extended 10 months to December 8th, 2022. This letter is available in the council packet for your review. EFSEC statute states in the Revised Code of Washington, or RCW 8050.100, that the council shall report to the governor its recommendations as to the approval or rejection of an application for certification within 12 months of receipt of by the council of such an application, or such later time as is mutually agreed by the council and the applicant. EFSEC received the application for the Horse Heaven Wind Farm on February 8th, 2021, and the 12-month time frame would conclude on February 7th, 2022, unless an extension is agreed upon by the council and the applicant. As mentioned in the update from Ms. Moon, the work for the EIS is heavily underway, and staff are also continuing to coordinate with the administrative law judge, Judge Torum, to schedule the adjudicative proceedings. Staff and the applicant have coordinated on what we feel is an appropriate time frame for such an extension and recommend that the council approve the request. Are there any questions from council members?
Are there questions from council members?
This is Ed Brose. What is the extension request for how long?
It would
Did you say 10 months?
extend the review period for an additional 10 months to December 8th, 2022.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the extension request For 10 months?
So move. This is Derek Sanderson, so move.
Thank you. Second?
Mike Livingston, I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? I think we know that there's a lot of work that is going on that's important for our review, and we need to be able to support this extension in order to get that information to the council for our decision-making process. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Goose Prairie Solar Project, Ms. Hoffmeyer.
Thank you, Chair Drew. Again, for the record, this is Amy Hoffmeyer. A brief update on the Goose Prairie Solar Project. On December 20th, 2021, the governor agreed with the EFSEC Council's recommendation and signed into approval the site certification agreement that was provided to his office. Staff are currently working to get that SCA finalized with all the appropriate signatures and look forward to beginning work with the certificate holder on pre-construction activity. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you. We'll look forward to an update and the start of a report as we go through this process towards construction. Badger Mountain Solar Energy Project, Mr. Chisholm.
Good afternoon, Council Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Sean Chisholm providing an update for the Badger Mountain Solar Energy Project. EFSEC staff continues to process the Badger Mountain Solar Project application for site certification, or ASC, that was received from Aurora Solar LLC October 7th, 2021. We are working with the project proponent, Avangard Renewables. The public informational meeting and land use hearing was held November 17th, 2021. The public informational meeting provides information to the public about the proposed project and energy facilities site, information on the council review process, and an opportunity for the public to make comments on the project. EFSEC received 17 comments during the public informational meeting. EFSEC staff is currently working with contractors and state agencies reviewing the ASC, as well as evaluating the project compared to Douglas County land use criteria. We are currently reaching out to WDFW, or Fish and Wildlife, DNR, Department, or also known as Department of Natural Resources, Colville Confederated Tribes, Spokane Tribes, and Yakima Nation on their interest dealing with this project. Does the council have any questions so far?
Are there any questions from the council? Go ahead.
The land use hearing was held November 17th, 2021, after the public informational meeting and public comment section. EFSEC received 2 comments during the land use hearing. Amy Hoffmeyer has some more information on that.
Ms. Hoffmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chisholm. Thank you, Chair Drew. For the record again, this is Amy Hoffmeyer. As Mr. Chisholm mentioned, the land use hearing for Badger Mountain was conducted on in the evening on November 17th, and included in your packet is a legal briefing prepared by John Thompson with coordination from the Administrative Law Judge, Judge Bradley. In this briefing, Mr. Thompson reviews the information received during the hearing and recommends that the council determine the land use to not be in compliance and set the matter for an adjudicative proceeding in accordance with RCW 8050-090. Are there any questions?
Mr. Thompson, would you like to make further comments?
Certainly, Chair Drew, would you like me to just kind of provide a brief summary of the memorandum?
That would be great, certainly for all the people who have joined us, in addition to the council members who haven't had the opportunity to review it at this point. That would be terrific.
Sure. Okay. Just relatively briefly, as you know, the EFSEC statutes, specifically 8050-090, requires that when there's a new application for site certification, that the council will conduct a public hearing to determine whether or not the proposed site is consistent in compliance with city, county, or regional land use plans or zoning ordinances. That has to be done within 60 days of the filing of the application. As Mr. Chisholm said, that hearing was held on November 17th. You heard from the applicant on the topic of land use consistency. The county didn't appear, but the details of the county zoning regulations were in evidence. I should mention another reason why land use consistency comes up is because applicants have the option of selecting or requesting expedited processing, which means dispensing with the adjudication, essentially, if the impacts of a project are not going to be significant or can be mitigated to a non-significant level, and if the project is consistent and in compliance with local land use regulations. In this case, the applicant, Aurora Solar, has not requested expedited processing, citing interim controls adopted by Douglas County that with which the proposed site for the project is inconsistent. So the application, Aurora Solar's application, was filed October 7th, 2021. A couple 2+ months prior to that, on July 20th, 2021, Douglas County had adopted an ordinance that was titled Interim Controls for Placement and Permitting of Alternative Energy Specific to Wind and Solar Energy Farms. And in relevant part, that basically there's a recounting of what the kind of the thinking behind that on Douglas County's part, but the important part is that the county amended its zoning code to include a requirement of 7-mile buffers from various geographic features within which a solar facility such as this cannot be constructed. So those were from 7 miles from the urban growth area boundary, city or town limits boundary, municipal airport boundary, specifically Pangbourne Airport boundary and Pangbourne Airport outer overlay zone boundary, and also 7 miles from habitat associated with sensitive, candidate, threatened, or endangered plants or wildlife. The applicant concedes that its proposed location does fall within essentially each of those 7-mile buffers, and so would not be consistent with that zoning provision. And consequently, they have not requested expedited processing. So in the past, the council has found that where there's just a moratorium in place on a particular type of energy facility, but that the code section, otherwise permits it, or that in that case that there wouldn't be a there could be a finding of consistency, I should say. That's not what the case is here, because Douglas County, in fact, amended its zoning code and added these specific prohibitions that I was just describing. It's my conclusion and recommendation to you that the council determined that the proposed site is not in compliance with local zoning provisions, and in that case, the council's procedural rules provide that based on that finding, that the council will set the matter for adjudication as to whether the council should recommend that the inconsistent local zoning or land use regulations be preempted, and that adjudication can be set separately or together with the adjudication that's otherwise, the general adjudication that's otherwise required. So in order to ensure that the council is able to timely have that adjudication and complete its review within the statutory time period, my recommendation to you is that you make you direct the administrative law judge to prepare an order for your review at the next council meeting or at a future council meeting, determining land use inconsistency and directing that the matter be set for adjudication as to possible preemption. So,
thank you. In doing so, we're not setting a date at this point.
Right, you needn't do that. I'm just suggesting that that the scheduling be left to either a pre-hearing conference or some later determination, but just simply that you decide to move forward to adjudicate that question.
And just for a little bit further discussion, the discussion around potential preemption, in the past, is it correct that the council has generally looked at a specific ordinance or a couple of specific ordinances for preemption, and it's not preemption of all local laws? Is that correct?
Right, it would be preemption of the provisions that are inconsistent with the proposed site, essentially. And then there's also this is also described in the council's rules that in the event that the council does make that recommendation to preempt, that it would include conditions to serve the purposes of the preempted local ordinances. So so yeah, right. You would just be looking to whether to recommend the siting of the facility, notwithstanding the inconsistent provisions, but still trying to include conditions that would serve the purposes, if that makes sense.
And that would be all discussed in the adjudication. I wanted to clarify that because I think it's when people hear the term, some people do take it to be not considering any of the local laws, when in fact, if there is an inconsistency, we may or may not. I'm not prejudging this matter. I just wanted to have a discussion publicly to clarify that it would be specific in nature, and there would be work to try to actually comply in as many ways as possible with local laws and ordinances. And that's all dependent on future decisions. This is hypothetical. I also want to make that clear, but I also, since none of us on the council have actually participated in this process to date, I think it's relevant to have discussion as we move forward, and to have that discussion publicly for the understanding of everyone who's interested in the project. Are there other questions from council members? And I also would say, Ms. Julio, that if you'd like to ask a question, it would be appropriate as well. Council members?
This is Stacy Brewster. More of a comment. I just want to thank you and John Thompson for the thorough memo. The information was very helpful and I do appreciate it.
Thank you. So the suggested motion has been sent to council members. Is there somebody who would like to offer that or another motion today?
Madam Chair, this is Kate Kelly. I too want to thank John Thompson, and with that, I move that the council direct Laura Bradley, EFSEC's administrative law judge for the Badger Mountain Solar Project application, to draft an order determining that the site is not in compliance with local zoning ordinances and setting the matter of whether to recommend preemption by the state for adjudication.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Stacy Brewster, second.
Thanks. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The motion is adopted. Thank you. So we will look forward to a draft order coming to us for review and for consideration sometime within the next month or so. And we would also look to wait to determine a time for the adjudication until we have the SEPA determination for the project. So we will be able to decide whether the adjudication on land use goes forward or if it's also in context with the environmental review. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the cost allocation report. Ms. Hofkemeyer, is that you today?
I believe so. I know I heard Ms. Bumpus on the phone earlier, but I believe I was going to step in for the cost allocation.
Yes, she has been under the weather, so thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Anytime. So presented here, we have the non-direct cost allocation for the third quarter of fiscal year 2022. The cost allocation is the allocation of non-direct costs incurred by EFSEC to be allocated to the various facilities based on workload and projected upcoming work. So if there are no questions, I'll get started on the list. Kittitas Valley Wind Power Project, 5%. Wild Horse Wind Power Project, 5%. Columbia Generating Station, 25%. Columbia Solar, 11%. WNP1, 3%. Whistling Ridge Energy Project, 3%. Grays Harbor 1 and 2, 9%. Chehalis Generation Project, 9%. Desert Claim Wind Power Project, 3%. Goose Prairie Solar Project, 7%. Horse Heaven Wind Farm Project, 12%. And Badger Mountain Solar Project, 8%.
Thank you. We have one more item for the good of the order, and at the beginning of the council meeting, you heard a new name on EFSEC staff, and I would like to introduce the council to Lindsay Remfrey, and I would ask Ms. Hofkemeyer to do the introduction.
Thank you, Chair Drew. EFSEC welcomes Lindsay Remfrey to our team. She is our new commerce specialist. Lindsay joins us with extensive project management experience from a long history with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the U.S. Air Force. And we are very excited to have her with us. She will be handling our contracting work and invoices and our records management.
Lindsay, if you would like to say a hello. We don't require anything else, but just so people can see who you are, that would be terrific. Ms. Remfrey, I should say.
Hello.
We're happy to have you on board. Welcome.
Thank you.
With that, thank you, everybody. Our meeting is adjourned for Tuesday, January 18th.